Hello, everybody. Great to be with you. I'm Pastor Hans, lead pastor here at Calvary, and thanks for tuning in to the Daily Dose. Hey, I have a son. He's a fourth grader, but I remember when he was maybe knee-high and he first began playing soccer. My son loves soccer, and we spend most of our summers out on the soccer field, but I'll never forget the day my son, he was playing soccer. It was one of his first games, and he had the ball and he passed this guy, he darted to the left, he darted to the right, and that's when he kicked the ball and he scored his very first goal. I will never forget that moment because as a dad, I wanted nothing else but to celebrate with him. My wife had to hold me back. I wanted to run out on the soccer field. I wanted to give him a hug. I wanted to put him on my shoulders. I wanted to give him a high five. I wanted to take him to Dairy Queen and get him whatever he wanted. It was one of those proud papa moments where all I wanted to do was to celebrate with him. And as I think about that moment, here's what I know about the God you and I have. That God, I hope you know this, wants to celebrate with you the great highs of your life. We have a God who is excited to celebrate with you all the great news that happens in your life. But one of the things I think we sometimes forget is we have a God who also wants us to know that we can always come. We can always come to this God when we're feeling anxious, when we're feeling afraid, when we're feeling sad, when we're feeling discouraged. This week on the Daily Dose, we're going to talk all about finding missing peace. Here's what you know. This year has been really hard, and it's been anything but peaceful. Peaceful in our world, peaceful in our country, peaceful in our own lives, in our families. It has been anything but peaceful. And here's what I want you to know. We have a God who we can go to when we feel anxious, when we're missing peace, if you will. The author of many of the Psalms, his name was David, he shares his fears with God. In Psalm 139, verse 23, we hear this. He says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me," and then he says this, "and know my anxious thoughts." Friends, we have a God who knows those anxious thoughts, wants us to come to that God when we are missing peace. And Lord knows there is a lot these days that bring us anxiety, that bring us fear. I mean, this is inauguration week, and if you have been watching the news at all, you know that there's a lot that we're being told we should fear in the world, a lot that might happen on Inauguration Day. I don't have to tell you that the up and down of our economy has created financial instability that fills us with fear and anxiety. Our kids, they've gone back to school. And if you're a parent who loves your kids, you know you always worry about your kids. There are these ups and downs in life that bring us anxiety and fill us with fear. But we have a God we can always bring those fears to. David did way back when, and we can too. And there's something unique that happens when we bring our fears to God. When we bring our fears to God, when we hand them over, they sort of lose their power. When we hand them over to God, there's something happen. The fear loses its grip on us. And we experience God's peace, a peace that only comes from God. When we hand our fears over, God fills those dark places in our lives with light. That's why we call this God the light of the world. And so this week on the Daily Dose, we're going to be talking all about how do we find that peace that seems to be missing in our lives these days. And as we close today, I want to leave you with a couple of questions. The first question is this as we dive into this week. What is usually your first response when you're feeling fear, when you're feeling anxiety? What is your first response usually? And my second question is this. What in life are you most worried about right now that's robbing you of peace that you need to simply hand over to God? That you need to give to God so that you can experience God's peace. Folks, I hope you tune in each and every day this week as together we find our missing peace.
When the ground beneath my feet gives way and I hear the sound of crashing waves, all my world is washing out to sea. I'm hidden safe in the God who never moves, holding fast to the promise of the truth. You are holding tight.